Hey,
Hello?
hey, what's up? So did you have your surgery already?
Hey,
Hey,
wait, can you say that again?
did you have your surgery already?
No, I just went to the hospital today. I'm getting it on October 17th.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
And you're in China for a couple weeks before.
Yeah. So, like, I fucking lost my passport,
Oh, really?
like, while I was transferring
Yeah.
at Shanghai.
hmm
So I kind of got trapped there, and then, like, the only way they could let me out was, like, I need to get their visa. I don't know why. I just had to get their visa.
Yeah.
And that took, like, 2 weeks.
Oh, wow. Hmm.
Yeah.
And then
So I had to, like,
you were with your parents during that time?
no, I was by myself, so I, like, literally had to, like, go outside of the China, like, they don't speak English for shit. I was kind of surprised.
Yeah.
Like, I just kind of, like, found my way through to Koreatown,
Mm-hmm.
and then, like, basically, like, used all my code approach skills to, like, ask people, like, body language, all that kind of shit,
Mm-hmm.
to, like, get to Koreatown, call embassy, like, tell them I lost my passport,
Mm-hmm.
and they told me what to do, so I, like, found this, like, Korean hostel, and the lady there, like, helped me a lot, like,
Mm-hmm.
helped me get the passport and, like, get like a renewed passport and, like, talk with, like, the Chinese government officials and shit like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was a trip, man.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it was kind of good. I kind of liked it, honestly. Like, it was very peaceful, just by myself in the hostel, so I was able to, like, focus on my, like, the web development work, and I don't know, it just kind of gave me a lot of new perspective on China.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to learn Chinese now.
Have you been there before?
Oh, no, I've been there when I was, like, 8,
Mm-hmm.
and I got this Kim Jong-un haircut.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
So how's the web development stuff going?
I'm almost done. Like, I just need to finish these 2 projects that's been kind of bugging me. It's kind of hard, but almost done with one of them, and then I just need to finish one more.
Mm-hmm.
It's been, like, fucking consuming my soul, man.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only thing I've done.
Hello? Hello? Oh, okay. So what happens after the web development work? So it's to help you with building a website?
Yeah, so I want to build a website. I want to help build other people's website.
Mm-hmm.
I think it could go hand in hand with like the SEO shit I'll learn from Fergal.
Yeah, it definitely will.
Yeah.
What sorts of things do you learn in the web development stuff?
So maybe, like, how to run servers and, like, all the front end JavaScript stuff, and, like, the back end, like, how to, like, back end programming, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
There's Python and stuff like that.
Okay.
I don't know. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Not really. Like I know JavaScript, but I don't know. Like for the only
like the full stack is like
yeah. Oh yeah. So I understand like the front end is basically what you see.
Front end kind of works with like the user experience, like how you see the web page and all, and then the app, and then the back end kind of deals with like the database, like how it connects to the server. Yeah.
Okay.
So I've been learning both. That's just like, it was like a 9-month course. Like, I'm kind of proud of myself. I just did it in a month.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a lot of work.
Yeah, so basically that's gonna be good. And I don't know, I'm kind of like getting into a lot of computer stuff now. Like, I found out about like ethical hacking too. I kind of want to learn about that too. Like, this like internet security is kind of like a new interest in me.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with the book I'm reading right now. It's called like Linked. It talks about like the networks and how networks like develop and like how vulnerable it is to some attacks and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So I've been like thinking a lot in terms of like networks, like connection, internet, all that kind of jazz.
Mm. Yeah, it's interesting.
And like my mind is like very logical right now.
Yeah.
I've been just sitting at the computer for the last 3 weeks, so like
Mm-hmm.
kind of like a machine.
Yeah. So then.
Yeah, I haven't gone out at all like since I left Berkeley.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I guess it's fine. It's kind of consuming me. I started watching porn 3 days ago again.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever. Yeah, I kind of want to like take a break soon though.
Yeah.
Once
Yeah, it's
I'm
probably
done with
good.
that.
I guess once you finish, like, how long does the last project take?
I don't know. I'm kind of stuck, so I don't know who knows how long it took.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely want to finish it by the end of the month.
Okay. That's interesting.
But yeah, other than that, I just came back to Korea and like found some job from like those like, Korea has like a lot of those like private academic institutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm working in one of them. I started working for them I'm like retyping their SAT tests
Mm-hmm.
because they illegally acquired them from like the SAT prep, like SAT like actual like institution.
Oh, yeah.
So they can't use the thing like directly, like the PDF. So I have to retype all of them in the Word.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm doing that right now. Just doing their like dirty work.
Okay.
Getting like paid $10 an hour.
Oh, nice. Yeah, at least it's something.
Yeah, I'm making something. I'm making something, and like I'll be working for them like at their place during the holidays. Next week is like Korea's big holidays.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a harvest festival
Mm-hmm.
for a week. It's when all the families like get together and like just do their shit, like talk shit to each other and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's coming up, and then that's kind of when those like private academic institutes like double down on their studies.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when like one of the teacher I know like needs some help during then, so I'm gonna be working then.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna make like $100 a day. It's not a lot, but
it seems pretty decent.
Do. Yeah.
It's like
cover at least another.
What's that? Kind of cut out.
It'll cover at least another 2 months of AGL, I guess.
Yeah. Did you? So are you in Seoul right now, the city?
Yeah.
Is it like pretty expensive to live there?
I'm living at my parents right now.
Oh, I mean like the food and stuff, or you prevent.
Oh no, I've been looking at it. It's really cheap. Like I found a room for $260 a month.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So what are your plans?
And
like after your surgery?
I'm really looking forward to work with Fergal.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a lot of fun.
And when do you do that? When do you meet up with him?
Fergal's coming on October 10th.
Oh, okay.
And he said I can work with him, like I can help him like doing some backlinking and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he doesn't have very like technical skills with computers, so he said I might be able to help him with like server kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I think that'd be good.
Yeah. And I really want to like just learn Fergal's lifestyle, like how he can like travel around the world and like work, because I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. He has a lot of financial independence.
Yeah.
Just like
And I watched his like kind of online course that he has about SEO. And it I can see how like he can have like financial independence because the way he does SEO is like he has a bunch of these like zombie websites that links to the client's like the main website, and that basically gives the client's website like the
domain authority,
the halo effect. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like the
making
PBNs.
Making those zombie websites like very furnished is like making your asset because you can use them over and over again.
Yeah, pretty much. So you mean like the PBN stuff? Like he
PBN
has like those old websites. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Yeah, I've been like kind of in a rut with my current website, but I don't know. I'm trying to like learn how to do webinars and stuff like that. And have you been doing like the YouTube stuff as well? Well,
my life's been just.
You're not as interested in doing that currently.
I should though. I don't know, like it's been kind of rough, like since I got to Korea. Like although it's been like only a week, I can just feel my parents' like negativity just like eating me up.
What sorts of things do they say?
I don't know. They're just like really skeptical of what I'm doing, and like they think I don't have any plans. I mean, which I don't to an extent, but like my moms keep pushing me like to go to grad school. And it's just those little, I don't even know, like, you know those, like, things you can't explain, but, like, when you hang around with them, it just kind of influences you?
Yeah. No, that definitely happens. That happened to me when I was at the hostel this summer. Like, at first it was good, but then over time, the people there, since it's a cheap place to live, and a lot of people are volunteers there, they have this kind of victim mentality where they think they know what they're doing, but at the same time, like, they're self-victimizing, like, the world is happening to them instead of vice versa. And then I was starting to get into this sort of mindset, too. Like, I knew better, I mean, just from all this self-development stuff that I've been, like, reading and watching over the past few years, but then at the same time,
it still affects you.
Yeah, you get sucked into it.
It emotionally affects you, I think.
It definitely emotionally affects you, and then also, like, you notice, like, subtle decisions and actions that you take, and it's like, I don't usually do that. That was weird.
So you're out of it now?
Yeah, I left. I left on Sunday, because I had to spend 3 months there, so...
really?
Yeah, I was pretty relieved, actually. And so...
Nice.
Yeah, then I went for a hike.
You made a lot of money, right?
This summer?
Yeah.
Not really. I mean, like, I did all right in terms of mostly just surviving, I guess. But then, yeah, I just came back to LA. I'm probably gonna spend some time here because I went for a hike after I left on Sunday, and then I was realizing that I need to like reprioritize my life a bit. So, because it's easy to lose sight of like what you want to do, things like that.
I'm trying to leave the house, but my mom like is kind of desperate for me to stay here because I can leave like if I want to. Like it's only $260 for like a month at this place I'm living.
Yeah,
and it's like a good logistics. So I could leave if I wanted to, but my mom like really wants me to stay. So like, I don't know.
What do you want to do?
I guess like I could stay for another month because I'm getting a surgery anyways, and then like I'm gonna be in the hospital in the next 2 weeks. So I mean I can stay till then, but then like once I get off the crutches, I don't know. I just kind of want to move out. Yeah.
So how do you usually spend your day? You usually go to that academic institution and then...
I haven't started that. I'm working at home.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I'm basically just like on computer all day, like retyping the stuff,
Mm-hmm.
Working on that course, and then yeah, that's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm. So do your parents bother
Also,
you
like another,
during the daytime?
yeah, they bother me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
My mom's like, "Oh, let's go this, let's go do this, let's go do that."
Yeah.
And, like telling me like this computer thing all you're learning is like someone can do better than you, like so you shouldn't even bother and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just like really discourages me.
Yeah. Do they have like co-working spaces there, or do they have like cafes or something you can go to?
Uh, yeah.
That's
I
pretty
don't have.
much, that was what I was
I mean,
doing when I was at the hostel as well. Because it was the same
yeah,
sort of thing where people were constantly going out and partying, and yeah, it's a different influence. It was just like, it was distracting, I guess, to what I wanted to do.
yeah,
So then I would always spend my
yeah.
time at the co-working space or at Starbucks. Something to consider.
I kind of like set up at my house though. I got this big monitor and like
Mm-hmm.
I got this mechanical keyboard too. It's kind of nice.
Mm. The one from, oh yeah, the one you had
But
before.
uh, it's just like I'm kind of getting depressed.
Mm-hmm.
It's like living really sedentary and like discouraging me and like
Yeah,
yeah.
I think,
And like one of the reasons why, yeah.
do you ever like go out to work out or anything like that?
No, not even that.
Mm-hmm. I think it's good to create
Yeah,
some time for yourself.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know what you do to work out, like go running or something. That definitely helps. Spending some time outside. That's something I've noticed, especially when I was on my meditation retreat or when I was taking acid or something, is that whenever I was inside, that would definitely affect me very strongly and negatively. And so anytime you go outside, it immediately helps. I guess we talked about this before, but creating time for yourself to either go out or to work out, I think is valuable.
Yeah. It's true.
And then, I was actually listening to this podcast, and they're talking. When was the last time you did like those the fearless challenges?
Like a month ago now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember.
I'm kind of scared to do it again in Korea because it's like Korea. You know how like I get really sensitive around Koreans.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a scary place for me.
Well, where does the sensitivity come from? It's just because you had a bad experience when you were growing up here?
I guess. I always thought they were like, we're really conservative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, maybe that's an even better way to, or a better reason to do that then. Because then you're like really breaking through the stereotype. I mean, to an extent, I mean, they're going to be more conservative than other cultures, but at the same time, though, they're probably going to be a lot less conservative than your impressions tell you they are.
Yeah.
So I think it's actually valuable to go out and do something like that, like a comfort zone challenge. I was watching this it was a TED talk actually, and this guy was talking about comfort zone challenges that Tim Ferriss would do, and it was actually like the first one he talked about was like laying in the street, which is a fearless challenge. I'm pretty sure Max just took it from Tim Ferriss, but like, but no, I think it might be good for you to do something like that, like construct a list of your fears and then create challenges based on those, or do or choose challenges that you think would help address those issues in particular. So yeah, I'd say like think about adding in the social aspect and then also the health part of it when it comes to working out, things like that. Because yeah, like the web development stuff is really important and everything, but at the same time, if you don't have an outlet, it's just gonna drive you crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Like you're gonna become neurotic and yeah. Yeah, what I've been doing is I usually go outside and I go for a run and then I do yoga or something and then yes, yeah, I also meditate and then jujitsu, things like that. But it's a good outlet.
Yeah. How's your life been?
I don't know, it's been pretty interesting, I guess. It's been like up and down, I suppose. Yeah, I guess like this time of year, it always is kind of like this. I don't know. Like almost every August and September, I start to get a little bit lost in my life, and then I have to like regroup and figure out what the next step is, and then always around the end of the year, then I have this revelation, and I go on some crazy adventure somewhere, and then take a next step in my life. So that's kind of, I don't know why it works like that. I just noticed it.
It's like a cycle.
Yeah, it's cyclical. It's weird, but
20 seasons.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. I'm trying to like find myself or whatever. But I've still been like consistently working on the website and things like that.
Yeah. You still want to do your AGL stuff?
Yeah. I'm definitely like my goal is also like financial independence, so I just have to constantly keep that going. Because I'm sure like over time, if you're consistent enough with something and you have the correct direction, then it's going to happen for you eventually. It's the same sort of thing with the pickup stuff. Like when I was learning how to do it, I always had that confidence I was going to work out if I gave it enough time, if I took enough action on it.
Yeah.
So I think, I think that's important.
I guess the problem right now is like I'm kind of blanking out on my goal. Like what I want to do instead of going to grad school. Like if I'm not going to go to it for a while. Like I said, I'd like to get financial independence, but I feel like it's just like, well, first my parents are saying like you're not gonna gain like financial independence just by working for 2 years, and then second, I don't know, it's just having like that kind of monetary goal solely. I don't know, it's just kind of like, I guess it doesn't really fit my style.
Yeah, you do need something. It can't just be monetary. It has to be. You need some sort of purpose behind it, like really refining what issue you want to help solve. Like that's pretty important. Otherwise, there's no direction to it. And I struggled with it too, with the whole AGL thing, because it's like it started as a pickup focus thing because that's what I've been spending most of my time with the past 3 years. But then I'm not really passionate about that in the same way I am about success and life coaching, like a more holistic version of it. That's always what I wanted, actually, was like, not just straight pickup or something. But yeah, what do you think? So I guess, I don't know if you necessarily know it at the moment, though, but what do you think in terms of the purpose? Like, what problem do you want to help solve and things like that? Or what do you feel like you're supposed to do?
Well, I feel like I should find what I want to study. That's the first thing that comes up on my mind. and yeah,
You want to find what you want to study.
yeah.
In terms of like, for like school, you mean?
Yeah, as in a grad school.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to go to it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good enough goal or not.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you'll have like an intuition. I mean, you're not necessarily gonna have everything outlined, and
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you just have like a gut feeling about something, and you just have to take like a full step towards it. So what do you? What do you think in terms of your intuition? Where would you see yourself in about a year?
Well, my intuition's kind of like, it's just telling me to let go of it, of like trying to go to grad school and studying for that.
Yeah.
But rather just do what you feel like doing.
Mm-hmm.
So recently, I definitely want to do that SEO and like the web development stuff, but also like I want to learn how to hack. I want to learn like my dad suggested to me like I go to his winter seminar at his company about like finance.
Yeah.
He runs some kind of like he's in some kind of like
Financial what?
Yeah, I don't know. But I think that'd be good to learn if I wanted to gain like financial independence. And I've always been like very ignorant in terms of like money, like economics and like I don't know, like personal finance and all that kind of stuff. So like I think it'd be good to learn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it'll be like Fergal will be a good influence on you.
Yeah.
Like he has some direction when it comes to that. Because he has ups and downs as well. I think he said when he first started, I think he was like 19 or 21 or something. He was like relatively young when he tried to do the SEO thing. And then he ended up making a lot of money and then lived off of that for 2 or 3 years and then eventually spent it all. And then had to rebuild everything. And now he is where he is now.
Yeah. How old is he?
I don't know. I think he's like 26 or something. We're all around the same age.
Yeah.
But I mean, now he has a pretty good lifestyle in terms of being able to travel and just work online. It's pretty cool.
Right. I'm definitely excited to meet him.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I've been kind of rethinking if I really want to do the Derek boot camp.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do I really want to pay like $1,500 and like go to this, and then take the boot camp?
Mm-hmm.
And also, that my dad's company's seminar is like during that time.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be like a little bit of hindrance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could always postpone it as well. The boot camp.
What? Oh, I can?
Yeah, I did that twice, and then he
But
kind of.
I can't push it. I can push it like the dates.
Yeah, as long as you do it a month ahead of time, I think you can do it without penalty.
Okay. Yeah, I might do that.
Yeah, I did that a couple of times, and Derek got mad at me. But
really?
Yeah. But it was the same sort of thing for me. Like when I bought it, it was an impulse buy, and then later on during that year, when the date was coming up, I was pretty busy with promoting and everything, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do it now. Like things are going pretty well, and then I postponed it, and then same sort of thing. I just didn't have the same feeling about it as when I bought it. I was in a different place in my life. And so even when I was on the boot camp, I wasn't super passionate about it.
Right.
Like he gave me a lot of good advice, but at the same time, I wasn't. He even said like, it doesn't seem like you're that interested in the whole pickup stuff anymore. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
not really. Like I've been doing this for a few years. Like,
What do you say about
because
that?
we started talking about business, and then he's like, "You seem a lot more interested in business stuff now." And I
Yeah.
was like, "Yeah, I guess so." He said there's like a different inflection in my voice when I was talking about business versus pickup. Um, just because I'm just kind of tired of it, I guess.
Right.
But at the same time, I do like to talk about like relationships and things like that. Just not
Right.
necessarily teaching like qualification, whatever. I think those are important concepts to know, but to provide the same sort of explanations over and over gets tiresome. But I
Like was
guess
teaching that kind of stuff?
what's that?
Derek was teaching like qualifications and stuff like that?
No, when I was teaching it,
Oh, okay.
Derek didn't really teach that. I mean, Derek,
Derek's all about just like full honesty, right?
yeah,
Like
for the most part, I guess like I think his core values are really knowing who you are, and then being able to convey that as best as possible to the girl, like as directly as possible.
Yeah.
Like like radical honesty. So,
Yeah.
and then his philosophy is show your most abrasive part of your personality first. And if she doesn't
Yeah.
like it, then so be it. But at least you screened quickly to see if she relates to you. But then at the same time, you can't just go like straight, just full honesty all the time. You have to be relatable too.
He says that too.
Yeah, be emotionally relatable. Because if I just like walked up and started talking about math, like most girls are not going to be engaged with that at all. You have to have some sort of social intelligence too, and then be able to emotionally relate it to her.
Yeah.
That's what he was saying, which I had a hard time understanding at the time. I guess I understand it a little bit better now, how to be emotionally relatable. And he was talking about like the sorts of things that I guess it's showing and not telling. It's not necessarily like telling her everything you've done or everything you're interested in. It's mostly like showing her that through the way you're talking, like through your lifestyle. Yeah, now I understand it better. It's like when you demonstrate certain behaviors or you talk about certain things, then that's an honest signal about how your lifestyle is, what kind of person you are, and that's how you become emotionally relatable to the girl. Yeah. So yeah, I guess you could postpone it. I don't know.
Yeah, that could work.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I don't know what do you think about like it's like my parents are kind of like ingraining like these ideas. Like my moms are keep like telling me of these accounts where like my uncle like tried a business and he failed, and then also her mom my mom like tried to. My mom's kind of like a poet as a hobby.
Uh-huh.
And she's been like telling me all these stories about like how she kind of had a hope to become like a more serious poet, and then like submitted all her work, and then got rejected, and then it kind of made her feel like you need to do something you're good at, not what you like.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, she just kind of like telling me all these like stories of like you could kind of fail miserably and not be able to come back.
Fail miserably? Like when you're trying something?
Yeah, and she's keep telling me like once you pass this period where I'm at right now, like it's gonna be too late to go back to grad school. Like I'm gonna be too old to study. Now, I don't even know what that means. Like to be too old to study. Like she says, like my brain's not gonna function as well.
Yeah, I don't understand that either. I remember I told my parents the same thing because my parents were like, oh, you could always go back. Like it was the roles were switched because my mom she's very much like how I am now, I guess, where she's like,
Yeah.
just do what you want to do because you could always work your way out of it. I guess she's the opposite of. It's like the roles are reversed in your situation.
Yeah.
Because I was always very skeptical. I was like, well, I don't know, because I might be too old to go to grad school later. Because when you try to get your PhD after 30, then they're not really going to accept you in the same way. And then she was just saying, I mean, she's like, well, you can do what you want to do, but make sure that it's actually what you want to do. But yeah, well, I was going to say something before that. Oh yeah, about like doing what you're good at instead of doing what you like to do. I think you can do both. You have to find the intersection. That's the key. I mean, that's really it. Is like finding where those two intersect, like a Venn diagram. Right. What sorts of things do you think you're naturally good at?
I've been thinking a lot about that, and just thinking a lot about networks. I actually think I'm a pretty good connector.
Mm-hmm.
Like I tend to get liked by a lot of people. It's just like even though the girls even though the girls wouldn't necessarily want to fuck me, like everyone that I know like generally likes me, like just for some reason, I don't know what.
It's like a networker.
Yeah, so I kind of thought about like maybe I could be like the hub, like where I can like link people.
Yeah.
Like even within academia, like
mm-hmm.
like I might not be the best like mathematician or like the best like field biologist, but maybe like I can be knowledgeable in both, and I could like be someone who like connects those fields.
Yeah, a couple of things come to mind when I think about that. Well, one of them is the book Tribes by Seth Godin. I don't know if you've read that one, but he talks about how when you start a movement, you need to provide a space for people to connect. So that's one thing that I was thinking about is like, because I mean, there's several different ways that you can start a movement. One is by becoming like a cult leader sort of thing, kind of like the way RSD does it. They have these certain core beliefs, and then people subscribe to those. And then there's another approach, which is like Facebook, where you provide a space where people can connect. And it's not like you're leading people, it's like you're just providing that space for them. And then I was also thinking about The Tipping Point. Have you read that book?
No.
By Malcolm Gladwell.
Malcolm Gladwell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was also talking about how movements start too. It's this same sort of topic. And he was saying that there's several different vital people that you need to start a movement. There's like the maven, there's a connector, and so basically like the connector is someone who's able to like match people up. That it's kind of like the tinder and the flint for when you start a fire. You have to match certain people up in order to start a movement. And there's the maven who essentially like they're the first ones to pioneer a movement. So they're the people who are trendy, who maybe they wear a certain style before everyone else does, and then it starts to catch on. So yeah, you could be the connector, and you could be the kind of person that provide a space for people to connect.
Right.
That's a possible option. It's all a matter of like which area you want to choose. But yeah, that's how you can mix what you're good at with what you want to do. So what you're good at is connecting with people, and in terms of what you want to do, that's just the subject area you choose.
Right.
So for me, like an example would be what I'm good at is listening to people. I've been thinking about this a lot. My strengths is listening to people without judgment, and that allows me to empathize with them to the point where I can understand their situation and give them very customized advice on that. So I'm very flexible in that way. It was the same sort of thing when I was tutoring math. I was good at understanding like how the other person understood the problem and then how to explain it in their terms. Because a lot of what math teachers do is just they'll explain it in their own terms. They won't explain it in the students' terms, like the way they're thinking. Because for some reason, I have that natural acuity. And then my subject of interest is this sort of thing. It's like success and life, and so that's the intersection of those two for me. And it took me a little while to find it. I mean, I'm still finding it now. I'm still trying to understand what I'm supposed to do, but I have a much more clear picture than when I was 23. I didn't really understand myself too well. And we have a lot of time too. That's another thing that Gary Vee talks about. He says, if I knew how good I would feel at the age of 40, then I wouldn't be as... I would have been more patient. Because what happens is a lot of times when you're around your age, like 23, like early 20s, then you start to feel panicked because you're like, oh, I don't know what to do. But then you have to...
I'm like on panic right now.
Yeah. It's like a quarter-life crisis, and I think it's very common for, like, as soon as you turn 21 to go through this. Because I went through it as well. And basically, what I realized looking back on it now is that, you know, as I went through my 20s, I felt less and less panicked because I realized that I had this freedom to experiment. And so I tried a lot of different things, and a lot of them didn't necessarily work out, but each one got me a better idea of who I wanted to become and what I wanted to do.
I think that's just what my... Sorry, I have this bad cough. That's just like what my parents like disagree so much. Like they think like I don't have time to explore right now. I like you need to choose and go.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It's that's like, why they want me to go to grad school. Like, they want me to choose something and then go. Like, it doesn't really necessarily have to be something that I like or, like... I mean, it also... my mom also thinks that I should know what I want to do, like, by this point. Like, which I don't.
Yeah.
Like, most people.
Yeah, most people aren't going to know what they want to do. I mean... I think we often go through stages where around the age of 20 or 21, we think that we know a lot of things. Like, we think we know everything. And then once you start to go through your 20s, like, maybe it's like an insecurity thing, because I definitely went through it too, where I thought I knew a lot of stuff, and I was like, this is what I want to do. But then internally I was like, I'm really lost right now. I don't know what I'm doing. And then that's when I was applying to different grad schools and different subjects, and I was trying to like change my major and things like that. And then I ended up postponing grad school. And when I finally went to grad school, after living in Vegas for a bit, then I realized that actually like getting older and having more life experience really helps you, because you're way more focused and you have more life experience to draw from, and you're not as afraid to participate in class and things like that. And actually express your own opinion. Because when I was in college, I didn't participate very much, but when I went to LSE, like I was like participating all the time and actually having like interesting opinions instead of just reading back what the book said or someone else's ideas. I had ideas that were actually informed by life experience. Right. And I suppose it depends on the subject. I know for mathematicians, like the age thing is kind of a factor. But at the same time, though, like I've also met people who went to math grad school later, and because they were more mature and more focused, in spite of the fact that they didn't have the same sort of I guess, youthful intellectual acuity that they would have had at an earlier age. They had way more maturity. They had way more discipline. And because of that, they were more successful because they just worked harder. Even though they might have had to spend more time solving a problem.
Yeah.
So it's a trade-off. But I think at the end of the day,
I'm dumb as shit already anyway, so like it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, and yeah, something like I think biology. I think it would. I think having life experience.
I think it'd be really good.
Yeah.
Because I'm already finding a lot of connections between like how computers work and like how it's so similar to like life and like biological systems.
Yeah.
This makes me think a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a key is tangential thinking. If you think through analogies, I guess, you experience something, then you can compare it back to something else. So an example would be me going into business. Because I've had that pickup experience, I relate it a lot back to that. And I know, I'm like, oh, this problem is very similar to the way I tackled a problem back when I was in Vegas. And I just had to like navigate it in a certain way. And it gives me that confidence too. Because I know that I dealt with that problem before, or a similar problem. That's an analogy. So I just can sort out the problem that's presently before me.
Do you think I should leave the house? Like,
I think, I mean...
But then, like, another thing that gets me is, like, my mom's done so much for me, and then, like, she wants me to stay here, so, like...
So you feel guilty?
And, yeah, I kind of feel guilty.
Because she's done so much for you in the past, or she's doing a lot for you right now?
Like both.
I think at the end
I wouldn't even be able to afford my surgery right now if I left.
Yeah, I think it's like you have to do what's best for you at the end of the day. I mean, you can still be appreciative and still be grateful and be like, yeah, I'm grateful that you're able to pay for the surgery and everything. It's just that I want to like live on my own and start working and things like that. So I guess I went through the same sort of thing with my parents. Well, my stepdad in particular. Because he was mad at me for changing schools and things like that. But then it's not like, I was telling him, it's not like I'm trying to disrespect you. It's just that I know this isn't right for me. I know I'm supposed to do something else right now.
Yeah.
And he came around eventually.
But what do I say when they say, like, what are you going to do just living by yourself? Like, like, I don't really have a particular, like, clear goal.
Well, what do you think you're gonna do? Just like mostly working on stuff, though, right?
Yeah, I'll like work on my web development business and like keep working with Fergal. I kind of want to get like a tutor in computer science. I also want to like keep working with some labs in the universities here. Like a lot of stuff, like
yeah. I guess you could let them know that, but ultimately, it's not really going to matter what you say. It's going to matter like how you say it. What I mean by that is they can sense when. So, I guess a way to think.
When I'm about to crack.
Yeah, I guess they want to see like how confident you are in your decision. Because they're gonna try to make you react. It's very similar to pickup in this sense, where anytime you try to explain yourself, that's like qualifying. At the end of the day, you just kind of have to like state what you're gonna do, and then just be like, I understand all of your concerns and everything, but I'm just gonna do it. And that's it.
My mom's like really good at that, like just like guilt tripping me.
Yeah. And you just can't react to it really. It's like a shit test, I guess. Just like, being unreactive to it. She'll probably try to make you feel guilty. And it's like, in reality transurfing, he talks about this pendulum effect where oftentimes we're influenced by pendulums, which is judgment from other people and judgment from social pressure. And the way to circumvent this judgment is by not giving it power. The way you give the judgment power is by reacting to it, like becoming emotionally invested in it. So if you become emotional at all, you're going to empower her to judge you, essentially, I guess. But yeah, the way to do it is just be fully focused on what you want to do, and then not becoming emotional about it, and then just not reacting to it, and just having this calm confidence in your decision.
Yeah.
And that's mostly it.
It's on my part too. Like, I'm kind of afraid if I'm ever gonna if I'm really gonna make it by myself, because I've never done it.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been living off my parents' money.
Yeah.
So it's like I kind of had that kind of fear too. So it's not just my mom telling me not to go. It's like I'm already thinking like, where am I gonna go?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how am I gonna pay?
Mm-hmm.
All that kind of jazz.
Yeah. And I think that's developed through experience.
Yeah.
It's kind of like pickup, where if you go through it enough times, you get more and more confidence that you can work it out, even though it's unknown, the situation. So, a lot of times, like, when I was first going out, and I would struggle, maybe I would get nervous or something. I'd be like, oh, I don't know if this is going to work out. But then over time, you become so, I guess, part of it is like numb to it, but then also that you have the ability to figure it out. But that comes through experience. And so I guess in your situation presently, but do you feel like it's the right decision, though?
Wait, what was that?
Do you feel like it's the right decision, in spite of the fact that it may or may not work out?
Wait, what was the question?
Do you feel like this is the right decision, in spite of the fact that it may or may not work out?
Yeah.
So as long as you have confidence that it's the right decision for you in that moment, that's all you need. You don't have to know if it's going to work out or not. If you worry too much about whether it's going to work out, then that's thinking too far in the future.
Yeah, you're right.
It's kind of like the rock climbing analogy. I don't know if I've told you this one before, but it's from Tai Lopez, where he talks about if you're climbing up a rock face, you don't want to look 50 feet. Like, let's say you're halfway up the rock face. If you look 50 feet below you, you're gonna be afraid of falling. If you look 50 feet above you, you're gonna see how much further you have to go. So it's really intimidating. But if instead you just look 3 feet around you and look for the next rock to grab onto, it's a lot less intimidating, and that's how you get up the rock face. So right now you just have to think, well, is this the right decision? And if the answer is yes, then you just take action on it. But I mean, if you think about like, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do, or where I'm gonna live, or things like that, then that's looking at like 50 feet up the rock face. It's gonna be really intimidating, and it's gonna paralyze you. So yeah, just taking the first action, and then for me, like as an objective observer, I'm like, well, probably gonna figure it out. Like once you put yourself in this situation, you usually figure it out. It's kind of like if you just jumped into the deep end of the pool. I mean, you're probably gonna figure out how to swim.
Wait, what was that?
If you jump into the deep end of the pool, you're probably gonna figure out how to swim. like how to
yeah.
basically. Yeah, it's just a matter of just finding a way.
Yeah.
So what are your plans for this? Like, so what do you think you're gonna do, moving forward here?
Just gotta finish this damn fucking course first.
Mm-hmm.
And once I'm done with that, I gotta get my life back.
And
it's my social life.
Mm-hmm.
And start working for people instead of just learning.
Yeah. And I'd also say have some sort of outlet right now too. Like implement that immediately.
Okay.
Going outside and exercising, or even just going for a walk or something.
Yeah.
Just like have some time.
Yeah. I'm at a point like I'm like addicted to work right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like every minute I'm not working, like I feel like I should be working.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, having some sort of release from that would be good.
Yeah. It's like I'm not in control of myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's definitely good to spend some time outside, for sure.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty vital. So yeah, doing that. And then when do you think you would move out?
I don't think it would make much sense to move out before surgery.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's within like 20 days. And once I do surgery, I'm going to be in hospital for a week. And then I'm going to be on crutches.
But I guess in spite of that, like, in spite of the reasons, like, what do you feel like doing? Like, do you feel like waiting, or do you feel like leaving immediately? I don't know.
I mean, I tried. I actually like texted a couple friends if I could stay at their house.
Mm-hmm.
I just like wanted to move out that bad. It's not, like there were like moments my mom were like just bugging me so much. I just like wanted to get the fuck out, like that instance.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I guess what we were talking about before is taking action based on intuition instead of having to come up with the reasons for things.
Yeah.
So it might have made logical sense to do one way, but intuitively, you know what to do ultimately. Whether that, I mean, maybe intuitively you do want to stay until after the surgery, but it's all up to you. Just make sure that your decision is true to yourself and authentic to your values.
Yeah. I'm also having like I always have sleep.
What's
like
that?
It's 4 a.m. right now, and I don't feel like sleeping.
Oh.
I've been going to bed at like 5:30 a.m. every night.
Oh, really?
And getting up at like noon.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like really hard for me to like sleep.
Yeah, I think that has to do with staying inside and also working on your computer.
Yeah, that has a lot to do with it.
Do you have the amber light thing on your computer?
Well, like the filtering?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. But yeah, that probably has to do with like not being outside for much.
Yeah, not seeing sunlight.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe I'll try to. I think I definitely want to leave as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But then those like monetary issues like hold me back as well. Like I need to start paying for my food and shit like that.
Hmm.
But I think that's something I should risk it.
So yeah, these are things that you would figure out along the way.
Yeah.
But when does that job start?
Huh?
The academic institution job?
What about that?
When does it start?
Like this Saturday.
Okay. What day is today? Tuesday? So...
So yeah.
Yeah, I mean... I guess, yeah, if you... The thing is, like, if you really feel like doing something, then you're going to also have enough constitution to figure it out along the way. But at the same time,
what did you say?
You'll have enough, like, constitution or willpower to figure out along the way.
I said prostitution.
Oh.
I'm like, what?
Yeah. But then you just have to really make sure that you want to do it. Otherwise, I think Julian was talking about in one video where he says that if you go halfway, then it's not going to work out. So you just really have to make sure that you're taking a full step in that direction. Like, be really committed to doing it. So yeah, I mean, I guess you could wait for a bit until you start getting paid at that job, but like for me, I don't know. I'm kind of reckless when it comes to this sort of thing. So, like, if I was in your position,
you're sleep on it.
Yeah, I'd probably end up like,
if you have to.
Yeah, I'd probably end up just like moving and see what happens and try to
like getting out the door. Just
yeah, I'll probably be out the door and on Craigslist, or I don't know if they have like a version of Craigslist there immediately, and looking for jobs and looking for something where I could just get paid immediately. And sell stuff or whatever. But I mean, it's not that that's right or wrong. It's just the way I do things, and then for me, things just happen faster that way. But I mean, for you, like, it could make sense just to like wait for a bit until the academic job starts or whatever. Yeah, that's ultimately up to you.
Yeah.
Because you know yourself the best, and you just have to trust in your decision.
Yeah. I'm just very anxious these days.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you know how like coming back to Korea was like for me, like back in San Francisco, like I was very like afraid of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, now I'm here, and it's just like a nightmare that I thought.
It's as bad as you thought, you said?
Yeah. I feel like I just don't have any ties that I like as I had back in San Francisco, and like,
mm-hmm.
And it's kind of weird too, like, I could build that shit up, like, instantly in San Francisco in a month.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow I feel like I can't do it here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that is an illusion. It's mostly your subconscious or emotional past experiences stopping yourself from doing it, which makes sense. I mean, if you had a lot of bad experiences when you were younger there, then you associate those experiences with your reality. Because I imagine, like, if I were to go to Korea, or like Fergal is going to Korea, that we would be able to build up these connections really quickly, like how you did in San Francisco. Just because we don't have any ties to it emotionally. But actually, like, when I'm back in LA, it's sometimes harder for me to go out. Just because I do have that. Like, I always have in the back of my mind, I wonder if my friends from high school are here, things like that. Actually, it's not really that bad, but Yeah, I actually had that paranoia when I first started going out here. But then over time, I was like, oh, it's actually not that bad here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's mainly what it is. So do you have like a clear picture of what you want to do for the moment? I guess not long term, but just
Clearer than before.
yeah.
It just kind of cleared my space, like headspace more, just talking with you.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've been really out of touch with like reality for a while.
Yeah.
And just getting influenced by my parents. Like my parents like are the only people I've been seeing like the last week.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been staying home all day.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, like getting back in the zone, kind of.
Yeah, I think it's good to go out. Otherwise, this is your entire reality is your house.
Yeah.
And then you can also write on the group chat too. You can do like daily reports, but let's see. So before
of what I did.
Yeah.
You get very boring report.
Yeah, I mean that's why it's important though, is because if you're writing reports,
you're gonna writing that shit again, right?
Yeah. I think it's important because you'll start wanting to do things. It'll inspire you to do
that
things.
Shit up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think your goal, I think the questions were so one thing for your ideal lifestyle. I think that could even just be like going out and exercising or going out and talking to people. I mean, it's simple as that. But it'll hold you accountable to doing this thing every day.
Right.
And I think those simple actions will help you.
Okay.
Yeah. Any last questions?
I had one, but I forgot. I'll just ask you when it comes out.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Get my life back.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, just when you think of the question, you can just write it on the group chat, and then we'll answer.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, also, for a monthly pay.
Yeah.
Now that I'm paying with my own money, so is that gonna entail 4th session of these?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the first one I'm done. I guess because we kind of like did this like a week after I paid.
Okay.
I'm wondering how that's gonna work out.
Yeah, we'll just do. When did you pay?
I forgot. I gotta check the Venmo again.
Okay.
I think it was about a week ago. I think.
Okay.
Or maybe a little less.
All right, we'll just say it starts today then, and then we'll just have you.
I mean, we didn't do much till today.
Yeah. So we'll just do that.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
Cool. And then, talk to you later.
Yeah.
Bye.